What's a sunset clause? Dude, we're going to talk about it today, man. Grab that paper, grab that pen, and let's get this done.
You better get fired up.
Guys, anytime you've got a contingency in that purchase agreement, whether you're a buyer or a seller, you want to have a sunset clause. So let's talk about what a sunset clause is, right? A sunset clause basically says you have X amount of time to get this thing complete. And if you don't come back to me and tell me that it's an issue, you're saying it's approved, right? So that's awesome for you on the other end. You're not waiting on an open-ended contingency. So let me give you a great example of what I'm talking about. You have, as a seller, you have a buyer coming in from another state, right? So they're buying your property sight unseen. They're giving you the purchase agreement. It's got all the terms you want, the price you want, the closing date you want. It's awesome. But in there's a contingency that, hey, the buyer wants to physically see the property and approve the property before they approve the purchase agreement, right? Okay, I can understand that. But what you don't want to do is just sign off on that and say, cool, you can see the property. You want to call them up, call their realtor and say, hey man, when are you getting into the area? We're getting in a week. Okay, 7 days from now. I tell you what, I will make sure that this property is available for you, but I'm going to put in there a sunset clause that says you have 10 days from the date of acceptance, right, which is today, to come in, view the property, and say, hey, this contingency is closed out. If you don't come back to me or my realtor within 10 days saying that there's a problem, then it's approved. We're good, and that contingency closes out. So what that means is when they get here on day 7, they've got day 8, 9, and 10 to come and view the property. Now, you, of course, have to make sure the property is open and available for them, but if it is, they've got those 3 days. They can come and look at the property. If they drop the ball, if they don't come and look at it, if they do look at it and they love it, but they just don't send you anything in writing, all of that is okay because after day 10, that contingency closes and the seller, you are good to go, right? So anytime you put a contingency into that agreement, I call it teeth. You're putting teeth into that agreement to make sure that it protects you. It forces the other side to be proactive and do the things that they want to do. So here's a risk that we're getting rid of, right? If they view the property, they like the property, and you don't have a sunset clause in there. So they call you and they say, hey, everything's good, but they don't put it in writing, and you don't have a sunset clause. 3 days later, 5 days later, 20 days later, but before closing, they decide, I like this house better. That house is a better deal. Whatever it is, right? They can get out by saying, we've got this clause that says we want to look at it and approve it. We looked at it. We didn't approve it. And they put it in writing and send it to you. Now you're out of luck. Verbally, yeah, you got what you wanted, but verbal doesn't matter, man. You got to get it in writing. So because it's not in writing, and now the fact that they want out is in writing, you're out of luck. You lost a deal. Had you had a sunset clause in there, you would have been secured, you'd have been good, and you'd have had your sale, right? So get those sunset clauses on every single contingency you have in your purchase agreements. All right, thanks for stopping in, guys. I appreciate you listening, and stay fired up.